Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to His Excellency Moon Jae-in, President of the Republic of Korea, Mr. Teo Chee-hien, Singapore's Deputy Prime Minister and Coordinating Minister for National Security, Dr. Kang Kyung-hwa, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Korea, Mr. Desmond Lee, Minister for Social and Family Development and Second Minister for National Development of Singapore, Professor Wang Gungwoo, Chairman of the ISEAS Board of Trustees, and Mr. Choi Shing-kwok, Director of the ISEAS-Yusof Ishak Institute. President Moon Jae-in, Deputy Prime Minister Teo Chee-hien, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a very warm welcome to the 42nd Singapore Lecture. The ISEAS-Yusof Ishak Institute is privileged to host this lecture entitled ROK and ASEAN, Partners for Achieving Peace and Co-Prosperity in East Asia, which will be delivered by His Excellency Moon Jae-in, President of the Republic of Korea. To begin the proceedings, I have the pleasure of inviting Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Teo Chee-hien, to deliver his opening remarks. DPN, sir.
His Excellency Moon Jae-in, President of the Republic of Korea, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the 42nd Singapore Lecture. We are privileged this morning to have His Excellency Moon Jae-in, President of the Republic of Korea, with us this morning. Your Excellency, thank you very much for agreeing to deliver the Singapore Lecture during your first state visits to Singapore. The Republic of Korea, or the ROK, is an advanced country with a dynamic economy. It is the world's 11th largest economy and the 4th largest in Asia. It is a global leader in the use of technology, including in telecommunications and transport. It is also one of the most highly educated countries in the world. The ROK, like Singapore, is dependent on foreign trade. In 2017, the ROK was the 6th largest exporter in the world. Our two countries are strong advocates of free trade and share a common vision for an open and rules-based multilateral trading system, linking our region and the world. Singapore-ROK relations are warm and underpinned by robust economic ties. Singapore and the ROK are among each other's top 10 trade partners. Our bilateral trade amounted to $33.5 billion in 2017. Singapore was the ROK's 4th largest foreign investor last year, while many Korean companies also have a strong presence in Singapore. Many of us are carrying Korean products in our pockets somewhere. We continue to strengthen our bilateral relations. President Moon and Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong witnessed the exchange of 6 MOUs yesterday on the environment, free trade, smart grids, the 4th Industrial Revolution, small and medium enterprises, and investments. These MOUs build upon the foundations of our existing economic cooperation established by the Korean-Singapore Free Trade Agreement, which came into force more than a decade ago in 2006. Our bilateral exchanges are also frequent. I personally had good discussions on regional and global security developments with ROK Defense Minister Song Yun-moo just last month when he was in Singapore for the Shangri-La Dialogue. I also had the great pleasure of congratulating Seoul Mayor Park Won-soon when he was in Singapore earlier this week to receive the Lee Kuan Yew World City Prize, awarded to Seoul. The economic links between ASEAN and the ROK are strong and substantive. Two-way trade in 2016 was $118.8 billion, making ASEAN the second largest trading partner of the ROK. The ROK is also ASEAN's fifth largest trading partner. ASEAN is embracing Korean technology. For example, Samsung Electronics held the top market share for smartphone companies in Southeast Asia in 2016 and 2017. We also welcome the ROK's participation in ASEAN's efforts to build a smart cities network. ROK Minister of Environment, Dr. Kim Yoon-kyung, also participated in the expanded special ASEAN meeting on climate action 3 days ago, and I met her and we had good discussions. We welcome the ROK's interest to elevate relations with ASEAN through its new Southern policy. The ROK can work with ASEAN to enhance collaboration, for instance, by strengthening the ASEAN-Korea Free Trade Area and pushing for progress on the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Besides trade links, we can also strengthen people-to-people ties between the ROK and ASEAN. In 2016, nearly 6 million Koreans visited ASEAN, and 2.2 million ASEAN citizens visited the ROK. Korea's Hallyu has swept the region with Korean drama, K-pop, food, all gaining popularity. The ASEAN-ROK Air Services Agreement, when completed, will facilitate even greater connectivity and interactions between the people of Southeast Asia and the ROK. And I'm confident that the ROK's strong ties with Singapore and ASEAN will continue to further deepen under the leadership of President Moon. President Moon, our speaker this morning, has a distinguished career. He began his career as a human rights lawyer and subsequently served as Senior Secretary for Civil Affairs and later Chief of Staff to former President Roh Moo-hyun. But before that, he also served in the Korean Special Forces. As a lawyer, he fought for the rights of students and low-wage workers. As Chief of Staff to President Roh, he was heavily involved in the 2007 Inter-Korean Summit between President Roh and former DPRK leader Kim Jong-il, which led to the Declaration for Advancing Inter-Korean Relations and Peace and Prosperity. President Moon's dedication and pursuit of peace has been well received by the Korean people. President Moon's speech today is very timely. The situation on the Korean Peninsula is of global concern and, of course, concern to all of us here in the region. There have been significant developments since the beginning of this year, and President Moon in particular has played a key role to create the conditions for a return to dialogue, beginning with the hosting of the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics and the 2 inter-Korean summits. Complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula will take time, and it is therefore important for all stakeholders to continue to work together and support ongoing efforts to achieve lasting peace on the Korean Peninsula. President Moon is eminently qualified, and we are distinctly privileged to have him address us this morning. And it is now my pleasure to invite His Excellency, President Moon Jae-in, to deliver the 42nd Singapore Lecture on ROK and ASEAN, Partners for Achieving Peace and Co-Prosperity in East Asia. I give you President Moon.
Deputy Prime Minister Teo Chin-hen, thank you very much. Honorable people of Singapore, distinguished participants from home and abroad. The road to peace has been paved by the North Korea-US summit. The summit of the century was a rousing success, and I thank the people and government of Singapore for making it happen. Singapore commands the world in Asian studies, and through this, it is shaping the values of Asia. The Institute of Southeast Asian Studies has invited me to give this Singapore lecture, and I feel a particular bond of friendship with the Institute. Last year in Manila, Philippines, I met with Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. We promised to visit each other as soon as we could. And I'm thrilled that this eagerly awaited encounter has come to pass. People of Singapore, Singapore is peace. One cannot talk of peace without speaking of Singapore. Singapore's history began in a small fishing village, and from there, by building peace, you achieved prosperity. In the throes of antagonism, what with the Cold War and confrontasi, Singapore led the creation of ASEAN and inspired dialogue. It established the value of ASEAN centrality, and through the ASEAN Plus 3 and the East Asia Summit, Singapore greatly contributed to expanding the reach of ASEAN. Southeast Asia could preserve peace because of ASEAN. It pioneered the third way of regional cooperation while maintaining stability in the region, and even within ASEAN, it was Singapore that was at the forefront promoting peace. Southeast Asia is a region with the world's greatest diversity. Islam and Buddhism, Christianity and Hinduism, Taoism and Confucianism, and socialism are all found together. ASEAN has led by example that such diverse civilizations can coexist peacefully. Now, the peace that Singapore and ASEAN have achieved together is capturing the attention beyond ASEAN from the whole world. If the 21st century is truly the century of peace and coexistence, then the 21st century can be called the century of ASEAN. It is Singapore that is at the very heart of that century. Korea wants peace more than any other country. No country is as desperate for peace as Korea. We lost everything to the war, haunted by the specter of war, and had to endure much pain. I myself was forced to flee my hometown and boarded a refugee ship empty-handed. As the son of a war refugee, I know too well how precious peace is. Singapore's unswerving dedication to peace has made this country the host of the North Korea-US Summit. It was the support from the peace-building people of Singapore that made the summit a success. I am humbled by ASEAN and Singapore's efforts toward peace, and through peace, let us move towards a greater prosperity. My Singaporean friends, ladies and gentlemen, to Korea, ASEAN is our companion in creating a peace community. It is our partner for trade and investment in achieving economic development. We're now moving beyond being each other's neighbor, becoming more like family. Recognizing the significance of ASEAN, I have endeavored to chart the future with ASEAN. Immediately after taking office last May, as the first Korean president to do so, I dispatched a special envoy to ASEAN to bring our ties ever closer. In September, at my hometown of Busan, Korea opened the ASEAN Culture House as the first ASEAN dialogue partner to do so. Last November, I visited Vietnam, Indonesia, and the Philippines on my tour and declared New Southern Policy. And this March, I visited Vietnam again, and with President Chun Dai-quang, agreed to reinforce practical cooperation for regional peace and shared prosperity. Right before coming here, with Prime Minister Modi of India, we also pledged our commitment to even deeper coordination and future-oriented cooperation in regional multilateral mechanisms. Singapore and Korea, since establishing our diplomatic ties in 1975, have been advancing toward a free and open economy, regional peace and stability as our common goals. Our two countries, both after gaining independence from colonial rule, surmounted countless challenges. Our two countries, though neither had much natural resources, believed people were our hope, so we invested in our people. Our people themselves achieved the miracle on the equator and the miracle on the Han River, which are astounding economic success stories. Yesterday, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong and I, with a view to advancing the relation between Singapore and Korea to the next level, agreed on specific measures for implementation. Exchange for talent development will be expanded. Economic cooperation will deliver real benefits to our people. Korean companies have long taken active part in major landmark construction projects in Singapore. Moving forward, we will prepare for the fourth industrial revolution together and further deepen our cooperation for regional peace and prosperity. ASEAN and Korea fill each other's needs and advance each other's interests. In ushering in a future of peace and co-prosperity, we are natural partners for each other. As for our relations with ASEAN, I aim to escalate and develop them to the levels of major powers surrounding the Korean Peninsula, such as the United States, China, Japan, and Russia. With this strategic vision in mind, I'm strongly pursuing New Southern Policy. New Southern Policy envisions engagement with Southeast Asian countries, including Singapore, in building a future partnership for people, prosperity, and peace. More of our citizens will interact more often. Substantive cooperation will be sought to unlock opportunities for shared prosperity beyond the Korean Peninsula and ASEAN. We will contribute collectively towards world peace. Singapore, as this year's chair of ASEAN, is leading peace and prosperity in ASEAN and is a key partner for Korea's New Southern Policy. With the diligent help of Singapore, I look forward to the ever-deepening and growing relations between ASEAN and Korea. Honorable people of Singapore, Singapore is the balancing weight of Asia, the melting pot of Eastern and Western civilizations. Your nation may be small, yet it has a wide embrace. Buddhist temples, Hindu shrines, Christian churches, Islamic mosques, and Taoist temples can be all found in a single street. Over 9,000 multinational companies and their workers walk on this same street. When it comes to unity and harmony among races and cultures, Singapore is no doubt the world's best. I cannot but express my admiration for the fact that you're not biased in your ideology and you're not bound by ideology, but in fact, you're shaping your own ideologies. Singapore is a society that values merit-based pragmatism, and it is the most honest country in the world with the fairest judicial system. Singapore's unity and harmony would have come from these very qualities. Korea was plagued for too long by ideological confrontation. The division of Korea condoned corruption, favoritism, and injustice under the guise of ideology, and this consumed too much of our strengths, which is why we envy what you have. But now, Korea is shaping itself as a fair and just society. In that process, there is so much we can learn from Singapore.
Singapore is bold in its imagination. and daring in its action. And this comes from your competence, your pragmatism, your integrity, and your fairness. It was these very strengths that drove you to build the world's second largest port that handles 1/7 of the world's transshipment volume and sets afloat containers to the sea. Singapore's next generation vision, the Smart Nation Initiative, is a forward-looking national response to the Fourth Industrial Revolution. One of these innovation projects is self-driving taxis. Building good public transportation as a means of improving the environment and the quality of life is what Singapore aims to achieve, and this goal will even change the minds of those who prefer driving their own cars. With its innovative economic and social policies, Singapore is guiding humanity toward a new path. Inspired by Singapore reaching ever new heights, I am convinced the age of Asia is unfolding. I wish to shape Korea into a country that acts on bold imagination as well. In Korea, there is an opportunity that neither Singapore nor any other country in the world has. That opportunity is economic cooperation between South and North Korea. The Inter-Korean Summit was just the beginning. Only until last year, the summit was considered a dream by all. Korea will build on complete denuclearization and peace on the Korean Peninsula to draw a new economic map. South and North Korea will advance towards an economic community, towards a country where anyone can have a fair chance at unleashing their potential, towards a peninsula where prosperity blossoms over peace. We will press on together. When the Korean Peninsula achieves peace, Asia, along with Singapore and ASEAN, will become the most thriving region in the world. Asia will light the future of humanity. People of Singapore, the Inter-Korean Panmunjom Declaration and the joint statement from the North Korea-U.S. summit allowed the leaders of South Korea, North Korea, and the U.S. to change the course of history. On our journey to complete denuclearization and permanent peace on the Korean Peninsula, we have taken our first confident steps. President Trump and I share the understanding that we will resolve the North Korean nuclear issue based on our solid ROK-U.S. alliance. And under that common understanding, Korea and the U.S. witnessed North Korea's participation in the Pyeongchang Olympic Games, the visits by our special envoys, the Inter-Korean Summit, the North Korea-U.S. Summit. We went through that great historic transformation together, and we will continue to go together. Also, with Prime Minister Abe, for the common objective of complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, we have engaged in close communication and cooperation. Normalization of inter-Korean relations will normalize relations between North Korea and the U.S., which in turn will normalize relations between North Korea and Japan. And this will contribute immensely to a peaceful and stable Korean Peninsula and Northeast Asia. To that end, Korea will do its utmost to cooperate with Japan. In May, at the trilateral Korea-China-Japan summit held in Japan, the two other countries offered congratulations on the successful Inter-Korean summit and expressed their vigorous support for the faithful implementation of the Panmunjom Declaration. And last December, I visited Beijing, where I had an in-depth discussion with President Xi Jinping on matters related to the Korean Peninsula. Through dialogue and negotiations, the North Korean nuclear issue can be peacefully resolved, and we affirmed our joint position to closely collaborate to that end. When I met with President Putin in Russia last month, we agreed to prepare for a trilateral South Korea, North Korea, Russia cooperation. and to scale up efforts so that together the Korean Peninsula and Eurasia can enjoy peace and prosperity. Thus far, I have met Chairman Kim Jong-un on 2 occasions, and Chairman Kim displayed a firm determination for a North Korea that can free itself from ideological confrontation and develop as a normal state. If Chairman Kim keeps his promise on denuclearization, then he will be able to transform his country. The road will surely be narrow and steep, but if the agreements made between the leaders can be implemented with sincerity, we can attain our goal. If North Korea carves out specific implementation measures for denuclearization, and if South Korea and the U.S. respond quickly with corresponding comprehensive measures, the process will move faster. The Korean government will work to establish a peace regime as early as possible so that economic cooperation can begin. The Panmunjom Declaration and the Sentosa Agreement will go down in history as the 2 accords that dismantled the last vestiges of the Cold War from the face of this earth. To that end, we will continue to work with the commune nations. People of Singapore, distinguished guests, just as you've supported us thus far, I look forward to Singapore and ASEAN's constructive role in the future as well. ASEAN and Korea have over the years believed that for the sake of regional peace and stability, we must solve the North Korean nuclear issue peacefully and anchor a peace regime on the Korean Peninsula. Since the year 2000 in particular, through the ASEAN Regional Forum, ASEAN has set the tone for a dialogue between North Korea and the international community. The ARF is the only multilateral forum that North Korea participates in. And it has been a vital communication channel between North Korea and the world. United as one voice, ASEAN encouraged North Korea to give up its nuclear missile program and revert to a path toward peace and prosperity. In our journey toward enduring peace on the Korean Peninsula, the road that Korea will share with ASEAN does not lie that far from us. Just as what we've witnessed with the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics in February, I hope that the Asian Games, to be held in Indonesia next month, will also be a display of harmony that contributes to peace on the Korean Peninsula. Korea and ASEAN already have between one another a framework of diverse cooperation and exchange, and it is important to embrace North Korea within this fabric. If North Korea sincerely carries out denuclearization measures, then I hope it can be brought to participate in the many meeting mechanisms of ASEAN, and bilateral exchange and cooperation with North Korea can be strengthened. For North Korea to be a responsible member of the international community and fulfill its role, we must provide such opportunities. Before the international society imposed tougher sanctions on North Korea for its nuclear program, ASEAN and North Korea had a mutually beneficial economic relationship. Furthermore, under the Korea-ASEAN FTA, ASEAN afforded the same tariff benefits to goods from the Kaesong industrial complex that it gave to South Korean products, and in this way enabled inter-Korean economic cooperation. Once North Korea carries out complete denuclearization and this leads to lifting of the sanctions, the once vibrant economic cooperation between North Korea and ASEAN will be brought back to life. And this will boost both North Korea and ASEAN's economies. Lasting peace on the peninsula will do so much more. It will bring together the economies of ASEAN, South Korea, North Korea, and Eurasia to forge a new growth engine for all the countries in the region, including ASEAN. Honorable people of Singapore, distinguished guests, the unity and harmony accomplished by Singapore represent humanity's ideologies for the 21st century. East and West, the Southern and Northern hemispheres, and the entire world are meeting as one, and in that crossroad, Singapore is serving as a melting pot. Singapore is truly shining bright, the light of Asia. I truly believe that Singapore will go beyond the achievements made over the past 5 decades and work yet another miracle. As it has done in the past, I firmly believe Singapore will continue to pave the road for peace and prosperity in ASEAN while accompanying us on our path toward complete denuclearization and ultimately peace on the Korean Peninsula. Let us usher in the age of Asia through peace on Asia. Let us create hope for humanity through prosperity in Asia. Again, let us create this hope for all mankind through prosperity in Asia. Thank you.
President Moon has spoken on several very important subjects in a very comprehensive way, building a fair and just societies with bold imagination, building peace and economic co-prosperity in the Korean Peninsula, and also how we can all work together to build a better life for all our people with Korea's new Southern policy. President Moon has agreed to take a few questions. What I intend to do is to take 3 questions and then invite President Moon to give his response, if I may.
문재인 대통령님께서 여러 중요한 그런 사안들에 대해서 포괄적으로 언급을 해주셨습니다. 공정사회의 이룩이라든지 평화를 구축하는 문제, 그리고 경제적으로 함께 상생 번영하는 문제 등에 대해서 짚어주셨습니다. 이제 같이 또한 함께 어떻게 우리가 국민들의 삶을 더 증진해 나갈 수 있을지에 대해서도 특히 신남방 정책을 통해서 이러한 노력들을 하는 방안들에 대해서 말씀을 해주셨습니다. 이제 저는 청중으로부터 질문을 받겠습니다. 한꺼번에 질문을 받고 문 대통령님께서 답변을 하실 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
Please. I call Professor Tommy Koh.
President Moon, I hope that the Nobel Peace Prize Committee in Oslo will consider awarding you the Nobel Peace Prize for your extraordinary efforts to promote peace on the Korean Peninsula. I think the people of ASEAN share your wish to broaden and deepen the ROK ASEAN relationship. Towards this end, I respectfully ask you whether you would consider supporting the following 4 suggestions. First, review and upgrade the ROK ASEAN Free Trade Agreement, which is 9 years old. Second, negotiate an ROK ASEAN Air Services Agreement. Third, reaffirm our commitment to the aspirational goal established by the ROK ASEAN Commemorative Summit to achieve a bilateral trade of $200 billion. If not by 2020, then soon thereafter. And my 4th suggestion, which I hope will not offend you, is our wish, my ASEAN brothers and sisters, and my wish that our South Korean friends will not treat your relationship with ASEAN in a transactional way, but as a long-term engagement. Thank you.
대통령님, 먼저 저는 노르웨이 오슬로에 있는 노벨 평화상 위원회가 대통령님을 올해의 평화상 수상 후보로 그렇게 검토하기를 기대합니다. 또한 그간 한반도에서 평화 구축을 위한 놀라운 대통령님의 노력이 이런 식으로 보상을 받기를 기대합니다. 네 가지 질문을 드리겠습니다. 대통령님께서 한국과 아세안 간의 관계를 더욱더 발전시키고 더 심화시킨다고 말씀하셨는데 저희 모두가 공감합니다. 그래서 첫 번째로는 약 이제 9년 된 한국과 아세안 간의 자유무역 협정을 개정하는 문제에 대해서 어떻게 생각하는지 여쭙고 싶습니다. 또 두 번째로는 한국과 아세안 간의 그 항공 운수 협정을 또 개정하는 문제에 대해서도 여쭙고 싶습니다. 세 번째로는 그 내년에 있을 한 아세안 특별 정상회의 계기에 오는 2020년까지 아세안과 한국 간의 총 무역액 총 2천억 불을 달성하는 문제에 대해서도 여쭙고 싶습니다. 마지막으로 한국과 아세안 간의 관계가 거래적인 관계가 아니라 장기적인 그런 관계로 나아갈 수 있는 방안들을 여쭙고 싶습니다.
Perhaps I can invite the next question. Yes, Simon.
Thank you, DPM. Thank you, Your Excellency, for a wonderful speech, very inspiring. Mr. President, you have been involved with the peace process before. It has been, as you described, a steep and narrow road, or narrow and steep road. What wisdom would you share with us about dealing with a long, protracted problem? What patience and what pressure, in a way, how do we combine this? I know it's a bit philosophical, but I think it is important as we come close to achieving this idea of peace, how we find a deeper understanding and movement about these issues which have been there for so many decades. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Simon.
대통령님께서는 과거에도 한반도의 평화를 이룩하기 위한 노력들에 이렇게 참여해 오셨습니다. 제가 보기에는 굉장히 험하고 또 어려운 좁은 길입니다. 그래서 대통령님께서 이렇게 평화를 구축해 나가시는 데 있어서 지혜를 좀 나누어 주시기를 부탁드립니다. 특별히 저희가 법과 문제를 다루는 데 있어서 어떻게 인내심을 유지하는 가운데 또한 적절하게 압박도 취할지 또한 이런 것들을 어떻게 조합해 나갈지에 대해서 고견을 여쭙고 싶습니다. 그래서 저희가 그 평화를 위해서 이러한 노력들을 기울이는 것이 중요하다고 생각합니다.
Can I have the final question? Perhaps I ask someone from this side, just in the interest of a fair and just society. Someone from the left side. Yes, please go ahead. Can you please identify yourself as well?
안녕하세요. Can I speak Korean? Is it okay?
Yes, please.
안녕하세요. 저는 현재 싱가포르 경영대 SMU에서 대학을 다니고 있는 한국인 21살 김연주라고 합니다. 저는 국제적인 이야기보다는 현재 한국인 학생들이 싱가포르에서 겪고 있는 그런 문제 하나에 대해서 좀 여쭤보고 싶어서 이렇게 마이크를 잡게 되었어요. 지금 심장이 너무 두근거려요. 네, 그래서 현재 방금 하신 말씀 중에서 싱가포르와 한국과의 협력을 통해서 좀 더 많은 인재 양성이 이루어졌으면 좋겠다고 말씀을 하셨는데 현재 저희가 가지고 있는 가장 큰 문제기라기보다는 그냥 문제를 할게요. 가지고 있는 그 문제가 뭐냐면 군대 관련돼서 살짝 저희가 걱정이 많아요. 저는 여자기 때문에 괜찮지만 한국인 남자라면 무조건 가야 하는 게 군대고 또 싱가포르인 경우에도 군대가 또 이제 필수로 가야 되는 거기 때문에 많이 비교가 되더라고요. 그래서 이제 저는 문재인 대통령님께서 이 군대 문제 관련돼서 알고 계셨으면 하는 마음에 마이크를 잡고 또 앞으로 이제 싱가포르와 한국이 협력을 통해서 이 부분에 대해서 이제 한국인 학생들에게 도움을 주셨으면 하는 바람에 이렇게 마이크를 잡았습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much. President was telling me last night that the young people nowadays are so bold and forward. I'm very glad that you raised the question and so eloquently.
안녕하십니까. 저는 싱가포르 경영대 21살 김현주라는 학생입니다. Sorry. Hello, my name is Kim Hyunju. I'm 21 years old. I'm studying here at the Singapore Management University. And I'd like to just raise one issue to President Moon regarding the problems that the Korean students here in Singapore are experiencing. I'm so nervous right now, that's what she said. And I believe that you have just mentioned the issue of nurturing young talents through cooperation between the Republic of Korea and Singapore. One issue that we are facing right now is about the military service. I'm a lady, so I'm okay with that, but I see many of my colleagues, my co-students here in Singapore as well as in Korea, because they both have compulsory military service systems. So I just wanted to let you know that there is a problem regarding this issue. And also I hope that through cooperation between Korea and Singapore, I hope that some help will be given to the Korean students studying here in Singapore. And what Deputy Prime Minister just said was that 우리 부총리께서 말씀하신 것은 어제 만찬 시에 대통령님께서 요즘 우리 젊은 한국 젊은이들이 굉장히 이렇게 대담하다, 담대하다 이런 말씀을 하셨는데 오늘 그런 모습을 본 것 같습니다.
President Moon.
한국과 아세안 간의 그 관계를 격상시켜 나감에 있어서 상호 간의 자유무역을 확대해 나가는 것은 대단히 중요하다고 생각합니다. 그래서 한국과 아세안 간의 자유무역 협정을 보다 자유롭고 또 서로 또 더 호혜적으로 그렇게 개선하는 문제에 대해서는 한국도 적극적으로 임하고 있습니다. 지금 협상이 잘 진행 중이라고 그렇게 듣고 있습니다. 항공운수협정의 개정에 대해서는 조금 미묘한 대목이 있습니다. 우리 양국을 각각 종착지로 하는 항공 분야에 대해서는 우리 한국의 입장도 대단히 적극적입니다. 그러나 또 한국을 경유해서 제3국으로 갈 수 있는 항공 분야의 자유 항공 운수 그 부분에 대해서는 또 아시는 바와 같이 한국의 관련 업계들은 반대하고 이런 여러 가지 이해관계가 엇갈리기 때문에 한국 정부는 좀 더 신중한 입장에서 지금 검토를 하고 있다는 말씀을 드립니다.
I can tell you that expanding the free trade between Korea and ASEAN is a very important issue in terms of developing our cooperation and relations. So in this regard, I can tell you that the Korean side is also actively participating in the efforts to improve the existing free trade agreements between Korea and ASEAN towards a freer and more mutually beneficial way. And I'm sure I've heard that I am aware that the negotiations are progressing quite well in this regard. Regarding the air services agreement, there are some delicate issues here. As for the passage that has our two countries as the final destinations, we are quite open about that prospect. But as for those passages where Korea will be just a stopover, then there is strong opposition from the related industries, so there are contrasting opinions regarding this issue. So we are carefully considering our position.
한국과 아세안 간의 교육 규모를 단기간 내에 대폭 늘려나가겠다는 목표도 지금의 추세를 감안하면 한국과 아세안 정부들 간의 노력과 또 기업들의 노력이 좀 더 더해진다면 충분히 이렇게 달성할 수 있다고 생각합니다.
And as for the goal of dramatically increasing the trade volume between Korea and ASEAN in the near future, I believe that considering the recent trends, if we could combine efforts from our respective governments and civil companies, then I believe that we will be able to accomplish this goal.
저는 한국과 아세안과의 관계를 경제적인 관점에서만 바라보지 않습니다.
And I am not looking into our relationship with ASEAN in just economic terms.
아시다시피 한국은 이 강대국에 둘러싸인 지정학적인 위치와 남북 분단으로 인한 안보 문제 때문에 그동안 한반도를 둘러싼 미, 중, 일, 이런 4대 국가의 외교에 우리의 외교 능력을, 외교 역량을 집중해 왔습니다. 그러나 이제는 아세안의 국제적 위상이 아주 높아졌습니다. 저는 아세안의 시대가 도래하고 있다고 믿습니다. 그런 만큼 경제적인 관계를 떠나서도 아세안과의 관계 격상이 아주 중요하다고 생각합니다. 그것은 한국의 외교를 다변화하는 것이기도 합니다. 아세안과의 관계를 주변 4대 강국 수준으로 높이는 것은 경제 분야뿐만 아니라 외교, 안보 등의 전방위적 분야에서 협력을 높여나가자는 그런 의미가 담겨 있습니다. 경제적 분야에서는 더욱 중요합니다. 이미 아세안은 우리 한국에게 두 번째 교역 대상 국가가 되었습니다. 또 대한민국의 국민들이 가장 많이 방문하는 지역이 아세안입니다. 이런 한국과 아세안 간에 이미 이루어져 있는 그런 경제나 인적 교류의 중요성에 걸맞는 그런 수준으로 한국과 아세안 간의 관계를 다방면으로 형성시켜 나가야 한다는 것이 저의 포부입니다.
As you may be aware, Korea, because of its geopolitical location of being surrounded by major powers, as well as because of the security concerns stemming from the North and South divide, we have thus far been concentrating mainly our diplomatic resources on our relations with the surrounding four countries, namely the United States, Japan, China, and Russia. However, I believe that in consideration of ASEAN's growing reputation within the international community, and also the fact that the ASEAN era is indeed coming. So I believe that besides the economic relations, Korea needs to strengthen its relations with ASEAN in all ways. And by doing so, I believe that we'll be able to diversify Korea's diplomacy. What I mean by saying that I will be looking to elevate Korea's relations with ASEAN to a level equivalent to the surrounding four countries is that not just the economic side, but we will also be looking to strengthen our cooperation in foreign policy and security area as well, among other fields. And I can also assure you that, of course, the economic cooperation is very much important, and already ASEAN is Korea's second largest trade partner, and it is also a region where the largest number of Koreans visit each year. So I'm looking to strengthen our cooperation and relations with ASEAN to a level that befits our existing economic and people-to-people ties.
그리고 그것은 우리 한국의 국가 발전 전략이고 아세안의 발전 전략과도 저는 함께 상통한다고 생각합니다.
This is the national development strategy of the Republic of Korea, and I believe that it conforms to the development strategy of ASEAN as well.
질문에 원하는 답이 되었는지 모르겠습니다만 질문 감사드리고 또 저에 대한 호의적인 말씀에도 감사드립니다.
Thank you for your kind words towards me, and I hope I have sufficiently answered your question.
지금 이 북한의 완전한 비핵화 그리고 또 한반도의 항구적인 평화 체제 부분에 대해서는 두 차례의 남북 정상회담 그리고 바로 이곳에서 싱가포르에서 열린 북미 정상회담을 통해서 아주 중요한 전기를 맞이하고 있다고 생각합니다.
regarding the issue of achieving complete denuclearization and establishing a permanent peace regime on the Korean Peninsula, I believe that through the two recent inter-Korean summits I had, as well as the US-North Korea summit that was held here in Singapore, we are entering very delicate periods, very important period.
한반도의 그 완전한 비핵화라는 과정이 결코 순탄할 것이라고 보지는 않습니다.
I believe there will indeed be bumps and bruises along the way to achieving complete denuclearization of Korean Peninsula.
예, 그러나 과거와는 지금 차원이 다르다고 생각합니다.
But I believe that we are in a completely different position regarding what happened in the past.
예, 과거에는 북미 간에 실물급인 대화, 북한의 핵에 대해서 북미 간에 실무급의 대화를 하다가 실패하기도 하고 또 대화로 합의를 했다가도 합의를 이행하는 과정에서 또 어그러진 일도 여러 번 있었습니다. 그래서 과연 북한의 비핵화 약속이 진정성이 있는 것이냐, 이번에는 성공할 수 있는 것이냐라는 의구심들이 국제사회에 많이 있는 것이 사실입니다.
In the past, we have seen many failures whereby the working level negotiations between the United States and North Korea were scuppered in the course of the dialogue, and even after agreeing to having some agreements during the implementation process, these agreements were scuppered many times as well. So I can understand that within the international community there is plenty of skepticism regarding North Korea's true intention, whether they are really willing to denuclearize and whether such efforts will succeed.
예, 그러나 이번에 전혀 다른 방법으로 접근하고 있는 것은 북미 양 정상이 직접 만나 합의한 것입니다. 북미 간에 70년간의 적대 관계가 계속 되다가 북미 양 정상이 처음으로 만난 것입니다. 북한 정권이 출범한 이후에 북한의 지도자가 미국의 대통령을 만난 것은 처음입니다. 그렇게 양 정상이 직접 국제사회 앞에서 먼저 합의하고 약속하고, 그리고 그에 따라서 실무적인 협상을 해나가는 그런 이제 탑다운 방식으로 이번에 접근을 하고 있는 것이 과거와는 전혀 다른 방식이라고 생각합니다. 저는 양 정상이 직접 국제사회에 이렇게 약속을 했기 때문에 실무 협상 과정에서는 여러 가지 우여곡절을 겪는다 하더라도 결국에는 정상들의 약속을 지킬 것이라고 믿습니다. 만약에 국제사회 앞에서 정상이 직접 한 약속을 지키지 않는다면 국제사회로부터 엄중한 심판을 받게 될 것입니다.
However, this time I believe it's completely different because the two leaders themselves met directly and reached an agreement. As you all know, there had been 70 years of history of hostile relations between the United States and North Korea, and in the course of doing so, the two leaders for the first time met this year, and it was also the first time since the establishment of the North Korean regime that its leader had met the President of the United States. So the very fact that the whole process was done in a top-down way, whereby the two leaders met directly and they agreed and promised in front of the whole international community, I believe that this is why I believe it is a completely different approach to what we saw in the past. And because the two leaders made a direct promise to the international community, I believe that even if there are some bumps and bruises along the working level negotiations, these agreements will be adhered to in the end. And if these agreements are scuppered in the way, then there will be repercussions from the international community.
북미 그 정상 간의 큰 틀의 합의를 이루었습니다. 한마디로 요약하자면 북한의 완전한 비핵화와 또 북한 체제에 대한 안전 보장과 적대 관계 종식을 서로 이렇게 맞바꾸기로 한 것입니다. 그러나 그것을 실제로 이행해 나가는 실무 협상 과정에서는 닭이 먼저냐, 달걀이 먼저냐는 식의 이게 논쟁들이 있을 수 있고 여러 가지 어려운 과정이 있을 수 있습니다. 그런 어려운 과정을 극복하고 정상 간의 합의가 반드시 실행될 수 있도록 우리 싱가포르를 비롯한 우리 아세안 부도 그리고 국제사회가 함께 이렇게 마음과 힘을 모아주시기를 부탁드립니다.
And there has been a very bold agreement between the leaders of the United States and North Korea. If I may just encapsulate it in a word, then it is a direct swap between the complete denuclearization of North Korea and providing security guarantees to the regime and also ending the hostile relations. However, as I just mentioned, there will be some difficulties in the working level negotiations to achieve this goal, especially on the question of what comes first. And I'm also aware that it is indeed a very difficult process. If we can overcome these obstacles and see through this agreement, so that we can overcome these obstacles and make this denuclearization happen, I'd like to count on continued support from Singapore, ASEAN, and the whole international community.
세 번째로 우리 한국 유학생이 제기한 문제는 지금 한국과 싱가포르 양국이 모두 징병제를 이렇게 시행하고 있기 때문에 말하자면 이중으로 병력 의무를 이렇게 치르게 되는 그런 문제를 비롯한 여러 가지 불편한 문제들이 있다고 들었습니다. 그 문제의 해결을 위해서 지금 정부 간에 이 협의를 하고 있다라는 말씀을 드립니다. 마침 우리 또 부총리께서 직접 우리 한국 학생의 이야기를 들었기 때문에 더욱 관심을 가질 것이라고 믿습니다. 참고로 말씀드리자면 우리 부총리께서도 국방장관을 지나셨고 또 우리 한국의 송영무 국방장관과도 아주 긴밀하게 대화를 나누는 사이입니다.
Regarding the issue posed by the young Korean students, you'll all be aware that both Korea and Singapore have compulsory military service systems. So I've also heard that there are some problems regarding some people who have to do this military service in both countries. So I can assure you that between our two governments, we are actually trying to solve this problem. We are under consultations, and just as because the Singaporean Deputy Prime Minister has heard directly from you, I believe that he is going to be a helping hand. And I'm also aware that the Deputy Prime Minister served for a long time as the Defense Minister, and he is very close with our Defense Minister, Mr. Song Young-moo.
뭐 이렇게 질문을 받은 사람은 접니다만 우리 부총리님께서도 한 말씀 해주시기 바랍니다.
Well, even though the question was posed to me, I would like to hear from the Deputy Prime Minister regarding this.
Well, thank you very much, President Moon. I see that you're very good at ping-pong diplomacy as well.
감사합니다, 대통령님. 핑퐁 외교에 굉장히 능하신 것 같습니다.
But seriously, I think we want to thank President Moon for having addressed three very important issues this morning. The first is really how to strengthen relations between Korea and ASEAN. The second is building peace and a better future for all of us. And the third is really meeting the aspirations of our young people. I'm very happy that we've managed to get a whole range of questions, and each one coincidentally addressing each of these three important issues.
먼저 대통령님 이렇게 그 질문에 성의 있게 대답해 주셔서 감사드립니다. 저희가 세 가지 아주 중요한 이슈를 다뤘습니다. 첫 번째로는 한국과 아세안 간의 관계를 강화하는 방안이고, 두 번째는 평화를 구축하고 모두에게 바람직한 미래를 건설하는 방안입니다. 또한 세 번째는 우리 청년들의 소망을 듣는 시간이었습니다. 그래서 이렇게 다양한 분야에서 질문이 제기됐고 또 답변해 주신 것에서 기쁘게 생각합니다.
Well, for defense of the nation, I was talking with President Moon over dinner last night, and we both agreed that peace comes only through strength. And to achieve strength, each of our citizens needs to make some personal commitment and some sacrifice to achieve that. But we will always try and do it in a way which takes into account as much as possible the aspirations that they have.
저희 국방 협력 관련해서 어제도 사실 대통령님과 만찬 계기에 제가 대화를 나눈 바 있습니다. 그리고 대통령님과 저는 저희가 평화를 이루는 데 있어서 힘을 바탕으로 이루어야 한다는 점에 대해서 또 합의를 보았습니다. 또한 그 평화를 이루기 위해서는 우리 양 국민들이 또한 일정량의 희생을 또 치러야 할 것입니다. 하지만 이 모든 상황을 종합적으로 최대한 배려할 필요가 있다고 생각합니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking President Moon.
Thank you, DPM2, and thank you, President Moon. Excellencies, Professor Wang Gangbu, Chairman of the ISEAS Board of Trustees, and Mr. Choi Shing-kwok, Director of the ISEAS-Yusof Ishak Institute, will now present President Moon with a pottery piece crafted by one of Singapore's foremost potters, Mr. Chua Soo Kim, as a token of our appreciation. Entitled Earth, Ocean, Sunset, the colors on the pottery piece represent the aspiration for a sustainable future. Before we end the event, may I kindly seek the indulgence of DPMTO, President Moon, Professor Wang, and Mr. Choi to pose for a commemorative photo.